Hello, it is me, Annalise, here to give you a quick lesson in some spatial planning and, working out where to put your furniture and all that sort of thing. First of all, ignore that because it's not north facing and it's not an elevation. That's a mistake. Okay, we don't want to see that. But this here is a plan. It's not your plan, it's another plan of another building of a lounge room. Okay, and I'm going to fit some furniture which I've already chosen. I've got my book here that's got my pieces of furniture. So I've got a side cabinet that I'm going to be putting the TV on top of because I want it up that high. I've got a lovely coffee table. I've got a lovely rug. This is my flooring. And then on here I've got my lounge. And on each one of these pages, and I'm not sure how you're doing it for in other classes, I've just got it written in really big writing for myself so that I could see what the dimensions were. And I've taken those dimensions and I've then drawn them to scale on another set of piece of paper, which I've already cut into, but as you can see, this is my lounge, this is my sideboard, this is my coffee table, and this is my rug. Now, so what you do is on a separate piece of paper, just draw up the sizes of your furniture. Get it as close as you can to the measurements. Not all furniture is going to be 2 meters or 2 meters, 500 or whatever it is. They're going to be a little bit strange. So take it to the next whole number so that, and go up rather than down, so that you actually just have to draw some very, very simple shapes. Okay, so that's what I've done here. I've just taken it to the next whole number, so it makes my life easier. And my lounge, so I'm going to write lounge on this so that you know what they are, just in case you have lots of things that look the same or similar size. Lounge, rug, side table, S table, because my writing is very big at the moment, and this is the coffee table, which I can do this way, coffee table. Okay, so these are at a scale of 1 to 50, which is what my drawing is, and it's what your drawing is going to be as well. All right, so there's a number of things I can do. I can push these around into where I want to see things, to see if they fit, to see if it looks any good, how much space I've got, so that people can move through the space and all that sort of thing. But the other thing is that that's a wall there, that's another wall there. This is a step going down onto a balcony. So there's a balcony out here. I don't know how to spell balcony. Balcony. Anyway, balcony out here. So these are sliding doors here, and so the view is out this way. So my view is out that way. So that's where my view is, of wonderfulness. It could be the ocean, could be the city in the distance, or it could be anything really. This is actually an apartment, this particular lounge that I'm doing at the moment. But if you wanted to make sure that you had everything correct, so these have been drawn at 1 to 50. I'm just going to pop them up there. Oh, actually, I'm not. I'm going to pop them over here because I'll be in the way. They're my little pieces of furniture that I'm going to use to move around. You can do this to begin with. Eventually you won't have to because you'll have more of an understanding of scale. Now, I've drawn a grid up on this sheet of paper here. Now this sheet of paper is actually this. It's the Multitex Bake non-stick baking. Okay, so it's sort of a substitute because we can't all have trace paper, which is a bit expensive. But if you've got baking powder paper at home, you can use that immediately. Or next time you go to Woolies, if you can get into Woolies or Coles, you can buy yourself just a cheap roll of it. Now I've drawn a grid up on this, and you can sort of see through it. So it works really good, or works really well for using as you know, tracing things off or even drawing things on so that you've got a bit of a thing. My grid's gone really wobbly there. I'll ignore that for the time being. Just ignore that for the time being. Your grid will be perfect. I'm going to put my grid, because I drew it up before because you didn't want to see me draw up a grid. You all know how to draw up a grid. So it fits exactly in this area, which is my lounge here. So I'm just going to do that. Takes a little bit to stick down the baking paper, but anyway, so that I don't have to draw a grid onto my actual room itself. And then I can play around with where these pieces of furniture are going to go. You know, how far away do I want to be? So this grid is 500 by 500, 500 by 500 millimeters. And I've started from this corner here, and I've drawn it up that way, and I've drawn it going out that way, okay? But that's where it starts, the measurements start from, and goes all the way along across. Let me just fix this one up in the center here, because it's just, bizarrely, I must have moved my actual ruler when I was doing it. That's better. That's much better. It could be that the paper's moved. It doesn't stick down very well, this paper. Anyway, here is my grid. Here are my pieces of furniture to scale, and I can use this to help me work out how far away things ought to be. Okay, so I want this to start at least a metre away from the actual window there, because it is a glass window. You don't want to have furniture up against a glass window. You need to have some space in there. So I'm going to put my lounge here, or I could have put it on this side if I wanted to. So if I did, I'd make sure that it was still a metre away from here, okay, from this set of doors, so that I've got plenty of space. But I'm going to put it down here because I know that the entrance to the room is actually up here somewhere, and it's much nicer to actually come in and look down rather than walk in and see something straight away. So I'm going to pop that one there, and then I'm going to go, okay, that's that one there. And then we've got a rug, which I really want to have the rug just around about sitting in this area here. And then I've chosen also a coffee table, which will sit in the middle of there. And then I've got this side table, which I'm going to put up this other end. Oh, it's falling down, sorry. Seems to be falling down. But you can use a bit of blue tack or something like that, or some tacky stuff. I've got some tacky stuff somewhere, or I had some. So it doesn't move. It's on, yeah. I'm doing this on a sort of a side, a bit of a, not a side, but this is sort of at an angle, so it's all sort of falling down in a way. But anyway, you can use bits of double-sided removable tape if you've got some, or you can just use a little bit of blue tack, or in this case this is white tack, or some sort of tack on the back of your pieces so that they don't move and you can see where they're supposed to be going. It's not sticking. It's not sticking. Anyway, so pop that there, pop that one in here, and it's just not sticking. I think it's because I've washed my hands so much that nothing sticks to anything else. It's quite bizarre, all this washing the hands. It's good, you have to keep doing it, but it's made some things a little bit difficult. All right, so there we go. There's that. There's my rug, which I'm going to put around about through here. I might make it line up with that part of the grid here and here. And then my coffee table will go on there in the center of where that is. Now that makes my life so much easier because I'm not drawing on my original plan. I'm just drawing on a piece of trace paper over the top of my plan and working out where I want things to be. And there's lots of lovely space up here so people can walk through here or come down and sit here Maybe I might put a plant there or maybe some bookshelves there, but I'm just keeping this really simple. You might have more pieces. You might have another sort of long tabley piece here on the back here, just to have ornaments on, or to just to make the room, give the room a little bit more of a division, because this is a totally open space. It just depends on what you're trying to do in this particular area of your apartment or house or whatever it is that you're designing. Okay, so once I've done that, I can actually mark this out and go, okay, well, that's where I want those things to be, and I can mark these out and put them so that they go through to the other side. So if I know where everything's going to go, I can then take this away, right, as it is, just like that. I know where my grid starts, but I also know where everything is here. So I know that my lounge is going to start at least 1 metre away from the edge of the from these windows here. So at 1 to 50, which is what we're drawing at, if I can find 1 to 50, is 1 metre. So I'm going to measure 1 metre here and put a mark there, and I know that my lounge is about 2.5 or 2.6, I think it is. And then I will either add on 2.6, or I'm going to cheat a little bit here and move my ruler. But anyway, that's me cheating. You should just add it up. So there's my 2.6. So I know that my lounge is going to start here and it's going to finish here. Okay, and I want this, which is this one here. I can see that this is actually starting in. It's not really lining up with this part of the lounge. So what I can do is, once I've drawn in this thickness and I've drawn in this thickness, I can find the center of from here to here excuse me, and then draw a line up so that this is actually centered on this measurement here of my lounge, so it's right in the center of it. Okay, just pop that aside again. The width of my lounge, because I've got all my measurements, is I'm going to say 900, so it's 900. So if I go my 900 there, put that one there, put that one there, there's my 900 there. There's my 26, which was the length of the lounge. It's an L-shaped lounge, so lots of people can sit in it, and you can either look out the window or look out the other bit. And then I'm also going to do the depth of the lounge here as well. Okay, so I'm just going to very gently draw that line up there. And then I'm going to draw these 2 lines across here. I just have to move this page over here a bit so that it just is out of the way. I hope you can still see this. It's getting a bit dark. And across there. So that's where my lounge is going to sit. Okay, so I'll just darken that in a little bit. And then I'm going to find the center line between here and here, and we can do that by doing, don't have to measure it, we can just do this, because that's the space we want to center the actual piece on. So if I go from here and I draw a line up here, that's where I want to center my cabinet, my side table, or sideboard. It's actually a sideboard, which I'll show you in a minute. I want it to sit there because I've got all of those, as I showed you before. That's the sideboard. Okay, so it sort of sits up, and that's the coffee table, that's the rug, flooring, and then I've got this very, very nice L-shaped lounge. An Adams L-shaped selectional sofa. Well, sofa. So there's my selectional sofa, and this is my piece of a sideboard, as they call it, or serving board or sideboard. I call it a sideboard. Don't know about anybody else. Okay, so it's 155 by 45 deep. Okay, so let's just see if we can make sure that we've got this as close as we possibly can to a measurement. Now that's starting 1 metre in as well, so that's interesting, isn't it? So I'm going to start it there, and then it goes for, I'll just take that away for a second, 55, 155, 150, around about there. So I'm going to draw those 2 lines coming down a little bit. So that one, so I'll make it start 1 metre in from there, and I'll make this one start 1 metre in. Well, it's more than 1 metre. It's the length of the actual sideboard. And then the depth of the sideboard was 45, which we can find on 150. So there's 45. And then we're going to do that. Okay, so there's my lounge, there's my sideboard. I need to put my rug in here, and I made it so that it'll sit in here. I want it to sit in this space that I've got left here. Okay, so I found the center of that one. I need to find the center of this one over here, so I can find a center piece for myself, a centering. And that's that one. And sorry, nearly did something that I tell you all not to do. And then there's this one. Okay. And then once I've done that, I find the center of that so that I can go, this is the center. Now, if you have a round rug, but you don't have one of these, this is called a circle template, okay? What you can do is search around the house for lipstick, because lipstick, you know, comes in round containers. You might find the right size or near to the right size for yourself. Medicine bottles, the lids on medicine bottles, or even the medicine bottle itself. Sometimes if you sew, then if you've got those longer rolls of cotton that you use on the sewing machine, they're actually got a plastic insert inside of them. So anything that's round that you can think of, you know, it could be a piece of dowel, it could be a bottle top, it could be one of your kids' toys or something, but you might, if you search around, you'll be able to find something that's close to it. Even money, except for money has the sort of, you know, coins sort of tend to have that sort of rough edge around it. So just be careful of what you do find, but something that's going to be close to what you want. If you do have one of these, then you will find the correct size. So if I look down here, you can see my size. I'll just take that off there, and it's one of these somewhere. It's this one. Okay, so it's that one. It's this one here. So with a circle template, you'll see that this one doesn't have it. Usually they have a bit of a they have little bumps on the back of them, so they come off the page, but this one doesn't. Anyway, with a circle template, okay, what you do is you normally draw the square area of where the circle is going to sit, and you put a cross in the center, and that's so that you can line up. See these? I'll do it on this one because you can actually see it better. But see these markings here? These markings you line up with the edge and the actual, sorry, I hope my head's not in the way, the edge of the square and where these 4 points are, where you put a cross in the square as well. And then you can do your circle, okay? Or you can trace around your circle. So there's my carpet circle, just done very lightly for the time being. If you don't have a circle template, then find a square rug instead. And then I've got my coffee table, which sits on top of the rug. And the lovely thing about what's happened here now is that I can see where I need it. So it's 90 by 90. Okay, so if I put my scale ruler and 90 by 90, so there's 90. If I look for 45, which is just there, if I put my 45 there, all I have to do is just do 0 and 90, and then go this way, put the 45 on the cross part, and I do 0 and 90 again. Okay, and then all I have to do is just draw the square. So you draw them in. Once you've worked out where you want to put them, and you can use a grid to do that, or you can just put measurements. If you don't want to use a grid, you don't have to. If you do need to use a grid, you can use some of this baking paper. It just doesn't stick very well with sticky tape down, so you might need to use ordinary sticky tape. And then you can work out where you're going to put your furniture. But make sure your grid starts, as mine has, starts in one corner. Starts in this corner, goes this way, starts in this corner, goes that way. And it's a 500 by 500 grid at, and I'll just pop that there, 1 to 50, because that's the scale I'm drawing at. So I'll just put down the scale. Remember that, you have to draw at the correct scale. All right, so this is what I've got. Now I want to do is draw some detail in to show where the arms are and all that sort of thing. And I can use, they don't always in here, like if I show you this, they don't always show you how deep the arms are on something, you know, but they'll give you measurements for overall measurements and a height measurement and a length measurement. So you have to, unless they've got detailed documentation, you're going to have to sort of guess what these are. And I guessed that they were about 100 to 150. This looked like it was 200. So that's how I eventually drew mine up at. But I'm just going to go, I went back and had a look at what the actual lounge suite looks when you look down on top of it. And I'm just going to, I had it here, but I've actually lost it at the moment. I might be able to sneak it in later on. But I know that there are certain things that happen with lounges. And just keep it simple. You don't have to go over the top. You don't have to do the exact lounge unless it's a particular shape, like if it's a, you know, one of those types of lounges that has some sort of, you know, rounded bit on it or something like that, or it's an odd shape or whatever it is. Just keep it as simple as you can, so because you just want the sort of overall look of it at the moment, and then you can put more detail in when you go to render it. But for a sort of a technical drawing and working out where things are, keep the basic shapes as I've done here. Make sure it's all set up very nicely, and then afterwards you can put in the detail. So I'm just going to put in some detail here. I thought that this was 1.5, so I'm going to do that's an arm, and that is the other arm. So I just might do that down there, and I'm going to do that one there. And I'll do 2 of those, and then 2 of those. And that's going to give me very basic, but it will be very much like the actual lounge itself that I am doing, that I'm actually drawing up. So I'm just going to go, so there's an arm, there's the back of the chair, this is the actual pillow part of it, this is the back of the, where the pillows actually lay across, that's not movable, and this is where the pillows are going to sit, so I'm going to do that. And this is the back of the lounge. So get it as close as you can, but you don't have to be really accurate. You can be more accurate if you're drawing at a much larger scale, Or if you were drawing on a computer, but we're not drawing on a computer, we're doing this by hand. And at 1 to 50, I just didn't want that to go all the way down, you don't get sort of like half measurements or tiny little measurements. You don't get a 1 or a 2 or something like that, which sometimes these things do have like half measurements. Like a, 192 or something like that, which is probably what it is, but you can't draw 192 because you're drawing at 1 to 50. So you can't show what 192 looks like because you just have to make it 190. Yeah? You get me? Okay, so I've got the pillows. These are the pillows that sit on the back of the lounge. And this is the other pillow. Sit on the back of the lounge. And then it gets divided. If I look at what it does, it actually comes down here and up there. And then I find the center of that. No, this space, which is actually here. So to find the center of here, I have to do that whole thing again so that I can get these two. And so there's a different measurement I'm finding the center of, and I'll do it on this one as well. Different space, even though it looks like I'm doing it in the same area as the first one. It is in the same area, but it's not as deep. Okay, so if I find the center of that, then I can draw that all the way through, and then I can draw this all the way through as well. Okay, so there is my lounge. So when I go to ink it in, it will look something like this. Okay, I'll just darken those bits up for you so you can see them. That's going to come up here, and it's going to come down here, and then that's going to come up here, and that one, and that one. So see how I brought these lines so they sit over this particular depth here? That's the upright pillow, and then that's the back of the lounge, which is all in one piece. Okay, and then this is the other arm and the other side of it. So you can see that I've got this L shape happening here. I'll just get rid of some of those lines so that you can see it. Alrighty, so there isn't sort of very much detail when you're looking straight down on something. The coffee table doesn't have any sort of surround to it. It's underneath, and nor does the side table. So really all I have to do for these is just to sort of darken them up a little bit so that they're nice and dark, so that I can see them, and then I can come and ink them in. So you would have gone through doing a couple of different layouts for your teacher in the other class, either with Catherine or with Emma or with Nari. I'm not sure who has who at the moment. And then you would have, they would have said, yes, that one, do that one, I like that one works the best. And that's when you were working out, when you had the grid there. So you can use a grid, or you don't have to, but be mindful of how things line up. Be mindful of, this is glass doors here. Leave enough space so that you're not crowding there, okay? Make sure that if people are going to be sitting here watching a TV that's sitting on top of here, that this is all nicely lined up. Okay, so this is lined up with this one here. Works out really well, actually. It's lined up. So this is also 1 meter. Okay, we worked out where the rug was going to go by, completing a complete square of where this L-shaped lounge is. And we used a circle template, but as I said, you can use a bottle top or a lipstick or something like that you might have, or perfume bottle that you might have that's just the right size. If not, choose a rug that's square or a rectangle. And then on top of the rug, because I'd already found the center of this space in here, I could place my 90 by 900 millimeter sorry, 900 by 900 millimeter coffee table here, okay, which sits on top of the rug. Now I can get rid of all of the little bits and pieces. I can get rid of this stuff here now, so it's less obvious. And then I can just get a pen, an ink pen, one of the art lines, and I could go over all of this so it was nice and crisp. Okay, so that's how to sort of work out furniture and to work out spatially. Most importantly, which I should have mentioned at the very beginning here, is that you have to make sure there's enough room for people to walk around, okay, for people to get around the space. You can't have something, you know, 300 or 400 away from something else if they can't walk through. Okay for a coffee table, because, you know, you want it to be fairly close. You don't want to have to reach over, like this is probably about 450, maybe 500. You don't want to be reaching over there somewhere to pick up a cup of coffee. So this can be closer, and I think it's only about 300 or 350 away from a lounge. So work out how things are going to line up, how they're going to look when you put them in the space, you know. Where is the center of the space? Well, this is the center of my space here, because from here onwards, in this particular apartment, is my dining and my kitchen. But this is just the area in which I want the lounge to be, and I didn't want anything too much. I wanted it to be nice and open, and then I'm going to take it from there to put in the other things, and then I can draw an elevation of this wall going that way, which I'll show you how to do in a second. Okay, thanks guys.